What if the most profound act of love you could ever perform is to stop giving it away so freely? Consider the paradox. You pour your heart, your time, and your very soul into someone hoping they will see your infinite value, yet the more you pour, the emptier they seem to make you feel. You offer them the warmth of your fire, and they treat it like common daylight, only noticing its absence when the cold begins to bite. We are conditioned to believe that this chase, this relentless pursuit of another's affection, is the hallmark of true devotion. But what if this desperate, exhausting marathon is the very thing pushing them further away, turning their casual indifference into a permanent dismissal? We have been sold a beautiful, tragic lie. A lie whispered in love songs, emblazoned across movie screens, and woven into the very fabric of our societal fairy tales, that love is a battle to be won, a mountain to be conquered through sheer force of will. We are taught to fight for those who walk away, to beg for a love that should be our birthright, and to break ourselves into ever smaller, more palatable pieces in the hopes of finally being deemed worthy. But this isn't a noble quest. It is a cruel and self-inflicted imprisonment. Why do you keep running towards a person who has already turned their back? Why are you sacrificing your self-respect on the altar of their apathy? The most profound secret to being valued by another has absolutely nothing to do with them at all. It is an internal revolution, a quiet, earth-shaking decision to become the one thing they cannot ignore, someone who no longer needs them. And in that sacred moment of self-anointing, the entire universe and everyone in it begins to shift in your favor. This isn't just a thought. It is the key to unlocking the chains you didn't even realize you were forging with your own desperation. The moment you begin to seek approval from another, you hand them the keys to your emotional prison. You voluntarily step onto a treadmill of validation, a machine designed with no finish line. Picture it. With every step, every ounce of effort, you are trying to prove your worth to a partner, a friend, a boss, or even a family member. You run faster, you push harder, you sweat and strain, believing that just around the next bend, you will finally see their nod of approval, their smile of acceptance. But you never arrive. The destination is a mirage that recedes the moment you think you're getting closer. This is the exhausting, soul-crushing reality of chasing validation. It is a desperate and futile attempt to catch smoke with your bare hands, leaving you breathless, heartbroken, and ultimately empty. The more you chase, the faster they retreat, not because they are playing a game, but because human nature is wired to question the value of that which is offered too freely, too desperately. Your relentless pursuit doesn't signal devotion. It signals a discount on your worth. You might ask yourself with a tremor of fear in your heart, but if I stop chasing, what if they leave for good? Let this question land with its full weight, and then answer it with a resounding, good. Let them go. Anyone whose presence in your life is conditional on you begging for their attention on you, constantly auditioning for a role they may or may not grant you, is not someone worth keeping. Their departure is not a loss. It is a liberation. It is the clearing of space for someone who will not require you to diminish yourself to earn their respect. If your value in their eyes is determined by how much you can give, how much you can please, or how much you can sacrifice, then the fundamental problem does not lie with you, but with their distorted definition of a relationship. Think of yourself as a lighthouse standing tall and unshakable on the edge of the shore. Does a lighthouse abandon its post to chase after ships in the vast, tumultuous sea numb? It stands firm in its purpose, rooted in its foundation, and shines its brilliant, unwavering light into the darkness. The right ships, the ones meant for its harbor, see that light and navigate their way towards it. The ones that are lost or headed for other shores simply pass by. The lighthouse does not feel rejected. It does not dim its light in sorrow. It simply continues to be what it is, a beacon. The moment you start chasing, you cease to be the lighthouse. You become just another wave in a chaotic ocean, indistinguishable from the rest, easily forgotten and effortlessly replaced. Society has a vested interest in you not knowing this profound truth. From the moment you could understand language, you were subtly conditioned to chase approval. You were taught that being liked is the ultimate prize, that avoiding conflict is a virtue, and that you should twist yourself into whatever pretzel shape is required to make others comfortable and happy. It is a pervasive, insidious lie, a scam designed to keep you manageable, predictable, and small. Look around you. Truly look. How many people are living lives that are merely a performance for the applause of others? How many are so terrified of being disliked, of being abandoned, that they have erased their own desires, their own boundaries, their own identities, just to fit in? Is that the life you envision for yourself? To be a faint shadow in someone else's story, instead of the radiant, blinding light in your own. Imagine you are holding a delicate crystal glass of cool water. You extend your hand, offering it to people, hoping they will drink from it and thank you for quenching their thirst. But they don't. Instead, one complains that the water isn't cold enough. Another remarks that the glass isn't their favorite color. A third ignores you completely, too busy looking for something else. All the while, your hand grows tired, your arm begins to ache with the strain, and the precious water spills onto the ground wasted. At what point do you finally realize that the problem isn't the water or the glass? The problem is that you are offering it to those who are not thirsty. At what point do you decide to put the glass down and drink from it yourself? Of course, breaking free from a lifetime of this conditioning is hard. It is one of the most difficult journeys you will ever undertake. But every single step you take away from the treadmill of chasing is a step closer to true, unshakable freedom. It begins with asking yourself the hard questions. Are you living a life that you yourself respect? Are you honoring your own boundaries, your own time, your own precious energy? Or are you giving it all away for a nod of approval that never comes? True strength is not measured by how much you can endure for others. It is measured by how much you can stand firm in your own sense of self. People instinctively respect that which is solid, unshakable, and certain. When you stop chasing, you become all three. The reality is that not everyone will value you, and that is more than okay. You do not need the entire world to like you. You do not need another person to complete you. Your worth is not a currency to be spent on their fickle approval. It is a treasure to be guarded, cherished, and shared only with those who have proven they are worthy of earning it. When you finally stop chasing validation, something truly incredible and almost magical happens. You become magnetic. People begin to notice you not because you are trying desperately to impress them, but precisely because you have stopped caring whether they are impressed or not. Authentic strength is attractive. Quiet confidence is irresistible. And when you begin to walk through life with the silent, powerful hum of self-respect, the world cannot help but take notice. So step off the treadmill. Stop running. Stand tall, be the lighthouse, and let them see what they have been blind to all along, someone who doesn't need their approval to shine. This isn't just about typing words. It is a declaration to yourself, to the universe, that you are finished with giving your power away. It is a line drawn in the sand, a sacred commitment to stop running after those who cannot see the magnificent worth that has been there all along. Denial is the most comfortable room in the prison of the powerless. The moment you decide to face the truth, you reclaim your freedom. Imagine you are driving down a long, winding road, and a small red warning light begins to flash on your car's dashboard. It's subtle at first, a quiet, intermittent signal that something is amiss under the hood. But instead of pulling over to check the engine, you keep driving. You turn up the radio, hoping the music will drown out the nagging feeling of unease. You tell yourself it's probably just a faulty sensor, that the problem will fix itself. Then suddenly the engine sputters, coughs, and fails completely, leaving you stranded and helpless on the side of the road. This is precisely what happens when you willfully ignore the warning signs in your relationships. The stark truth is that most people do not miss the signs. They actively choose to avoid them. Why? Because the truth is profoundly uncomfortable. It is far easier to whisper comforting lies to yourself. It's just a phase. They're just really busy with work. Maybe I'm being too sensitive, than to admit the cold, hard fact that the person you care so deeply about has stopped valuing you. Denial feels safer in the short term, but it is a slow-acting poison that erodes your self-esteem and normalizes disrespect over time. You might be wondering what these signs even look like. Sometimes they are so subtle they can slip by almost unnoticed. It might be a consistent shift in their tone when they speak to you, a slight coldness where warmth used to be. It could be the slow disappearance of compliments or a palpable lack of enthusiasm in their responses to your good news. Other times, the signs are loud, blatant, and impossible to misinterpret plans that are repeatedly canceled at the last minute without a sincere apology, calls and texts that go unanswered for days, or moments of outright disrespect that are brushed off as a joke. Whether these signs whisper or scream, they are always there waiting for you to stop making excuses for them. Take a quiet moment of radical honesty with yourself. How many times have you been the one to always initiate the conversation? How often have you found yourself bending over backward to make plans that fit their schedule while they offer no flexibility in return? Are you constantly the one compromising, sacrificing your needs and wants while the other person remains indifferent and entitled? And what do you truly get in return for all this effort? Is it reciprocated energy, or is it a diet of silence, excuses, or even worse, absolutely nothing at all? Here is the hard truth that you need to internalize: people value what they have to earn. If you are the one putting in all the effort, you are inadvertently teaching them that they don't have to try. You are communicating to them that your time, your energy, and your attention are cheap, easily accessible commodities. And let this sink in: cheap things are easily discarded. Now the familiar fear may creep in again. But what if I stop trying? Won't they just walk away? Maybe they will. But you must ask yourself the more important question: if someone only sticks around when you are doing all the work, are they really worth keeping in the first place? Love, respect, and connection are not one-way streets. They are dynamic living ecosystems that can only thrive when both people invest their energy equally. Ignoring the warning signs doesn't just hurt you. It actively teaches the other person that disrespect is an acceptable form of communication in your dynamic. Every time you let a canceled plan slide without addressing it, every time you stay silent when they treat you poorly or make a passive-aggressive comment, you are sending a clear, albeit unspoken message: it's okay to treat me like this. My feelings don't matter as much as keeping the peace. But it is not okay. Not now, not ever. Perhaps you're thinking that you've ignored these signs for far too long, that it's too late to change the dynamic. It is never ever too late to wake up. Recognizing the signs for what they are is the crucial first step to reclaiming your power. Start by asking yourself some tough, illuminating questions. Am I consistently tolerating disrespect in the name of love or friendship? Am I chronically overgiving and in return expecting far too little? Am I ignoring bright red flags because I am terrified to confront the truth of what they signify? If the answer to these questions is yes, then it is time to face reality, no matter how painful it may be. Picture a balancing scale in your mind. On one side, pile up everything you are giving to the relationship: your time, your emotional energy, your love, your attention, your support. On the other side, place everything you are receiving. Is the scale balanced? Or is one side heavily tipped, groaning under the weight of your unreciprocated efforts? Healthy relationships find a natural, flowing balance. They may tip one way or the other in moments of crisis, but they always return to equilibrium. Do not let fear keep you from addressing a persistent imbalance. Fear is a masterful liar whispering in your ear that if you stop trying so hard, you will surely lose them. But what truly is the cost of keeping them under these conditions? Is it losing yourself? Is it sacrificing your dignity? That is a price far too high for any person to pay. And if you address the imbalance and they simply don't care, then you have your definitive answer. Let them go. People who genuinely value you and your presence in their life will listen, they will adjust, and they will meet you halfway. Those who don't were never truly invested in the first place. Walking away from someone who consistently fails to value you is not a loss. It is a profound victory. It is irrefutable proof that you are no longer willing to settle for less than you deserve. Recognizing the warning signs isn't about assigning blame. It's about taking radical responsibility for your role in the dynamic. It's about choosing to stop tolerating what is not serving your highest good. When you open your eyes and stop making excuses, you take back your power. So stop ignoring the flashing lights on your dashboard. Pull the car over, assess the damage, and decide if the road you're on is truly worth traveling. If it's not, have the courage to take the exit ramp that leads towards self-respect. It is a journey you will never regret. Sometimes the most powerful and strategic move you can make is not to fight harder for a place in their life, but to leave gracefully and let them contend with the deafening silence and the stark, gaping emptiness you leave behind. Imagine you are holding a small flickering flame in the palm of your hand, carefully shielding it from the wind to keep someone else warm. They sit back, basking comfortably in its gentle glow, taking the heat and light completely for granted. They assume without a second thought that the flame will burn forever, that your hand will never tire, that the warmth is simply theirs to enjoy. But over time, as your energy wanes, the fire begins to burn lower. Instead of helping you tend to it, they grow impatient with its diminishing light. Then one day, you simply close your hand, extinguishing the flame completely. The cold rushes in with a shocking immediacy, and for the very first time, they are forced to realize just how much they needed your warmth. That is the undeniable power of stepping back. When someone begins to devalue you, your natural, deeply ingrained instinct might be to chase them. You want to prove your worth, to fix whatever feels broken, to remind them of the good times. But here is the counterintuitive truth. Chasing only solidifies your position as less than in their eyes. The more you pursue, the more they instinctively pull away. And why shouldn't they? From their perspective, you are doing all the work. You are feeding their ego, giving them a constant supply of attention and demanding absolutely nothing in return. You have made your presence a given, not a gift. The fear-based question immediately arises, but if I step back, won't they just forget about me? The answer is an emphatic no. They won't forget you. They will notice you. Absence is loud. It doesn't whisper. It roars. It creates a vacuum in their life that forces them to confront what they have been so casually taking for granted. When you are no longer always available, no longer the one always initiating contact, no longer the one bending over backward to accommodate them, they are left with a sudden, uncomfortable silence that they cannot ignore. Think about it. You have been the one sending the first text of the day, making the calls to check in, meticulously planning the dates. They have grown comfortable, complacent, even treating your consistent effort as a given part of their daily routine. Now picture stopping all of it. Cold turkey. No more good morning texts. No more calls. No more plans. Suddenly, their phone is silent. Their evenings are empty. They are left alone with their thoughts, and those thoughts will inevitably turn to you. What happened? Why haven't I heard from them? Did I do something to mess this up? That internal monologue, that dawning sense of confusion and loss, is the power of stepping back in action. It compels them to see what life actually looks like without your energy in it. But let's be crystal clear about one thing. Stepping back is not about playing manipulative games. It is not a childish tactic to try and trick someone into chasing you. It is a profound act of self-preservation and self-respect. It is about reclaiming your own precious energy and redirecting it back where it belongs, toward yourself. It is a quiet but firm declaration that says, if you cannot see and honor my value, I will see and honor it for myself. You might be wondering what to do with all this newfound time and energy that you used to pour into them. The answer is simple and transformative. You invest it in yourself. You focus on your goals, your personal growth, your health, and your happiness. When you step back from them and pour that energy into your own life, you become stronger, more confident, and more self-assured. You slowly stop needing their approval because you are learning how to generate your own. And then something incredible happens. The entire power dynamic shifts. Think of it like a magnet. When you chase someone, you are effectively pushing the same polarity towards them, creating a force of repulsion. But when you step back, when you turn your focus inward, you flip the script. Your absence becomes a powerful magnetic pull they cannot easily ignore. They start to realize what they have lost, but by then, something even more powerful has happened within you. You have grown to a place where you might not even want them back. The fear of them not returning is replaced by a more potent question: do I even want them now that I've rediscovered myself? If they don't come back after you've stepped away, then let them stay gone. Consider it a blessing, because ultimately, stepping back is not about getting them back, it's about getting yourself back. It is about liberating yourself from the exhausting, soul-crushing cycle of having to prove your worth to someone who never deserved your efforts in the first place. Stepping back doesn't just reclaim your power, it transforms you. It reminds you that your value is not tied to how much you can give to another person, but how much you invest in yourself. And here is the beautiful irony: the more you invest in yourself, the less you care about whether they notice. And when they do finally notice, and trust me, they will, you will be standing in a place of unshakable strength, not desperate neediness. You will not be the same person who was begging for scraps of their attention. You will be the person who commands respect, not because you asked for it, but because you embody it. This will feel hard. It will feel uncomfortable. That discomfort is the signal that it's working. Growth is never easy, and reclaiming your power does not happen without a struggle. But every step you take away from someone who does not value you is a step closer to the vibrant, fulfilling life you deserve. So here is your challenge. Stop texting first. Stop chasing. Stop explaining yourself. Let them sit in the profound silence of your absence. Let them feel the true weight of the loss of what they so carelessly took for granted. This is your moment to reclaim your power. It's time to step back and leap forward into the life that is waiting for you. You cannot pour from an empty cup, yet here you are running on fumes, trying desperately to fill someone else's glass. When was the last time you truly, genuinely put yourself first? And no, mindlessly scrolling on your phone or zoning out in front of a screen for hours does not count. I mean the kind of deep, intentional self-investment that shakes you awake, that transforms you from the inside out into a stronger, sharper, more resilient version of yourself. The kind of investment that makes you look in the mirror and think with a surge of genuine pride, "Damn, I am proud of the person I am becoming." The world doesn't reward those who shrink themselves for the comfort of others. It rewards those who know their own worth and act accordingly. People do not respect someone who willingly neglects their own potential. They are drawn like moths to a flame to those who grow, evolve, and thrive against all odds. If you are not growing, you are stagnating, and stagnation is a slow death of the spirit. The problem is that most people spend their entire lives pouring all their precious energy into others. They bend over backward in their relationships, they sacrifice their own dreams to make someone else happy, and then they have the audacity to wonder why they feel so drained, so invisible, so utterly depleted. Does this sound familiar? Let me break it to you gently. The world does not respect martyrs. It respects builders. It respects people who build themselves up brick by painstaking brick, no matter how many times life tries to knock them down. Imagine for a moment that instead of channeling all your energy into chasing after someone who doesn't value you, you redirect that powerful current into becoming the absolute best version of yourself. You hit the gym not to get a revenge body, but to feel the strength thrumming in your own muscles. You learn a new skill not to impress them, but to expand your own mind and capabilities. You finally start that business you've always dreamed of. Not so they'll regret leaving, but because it sets your own soul on fire. Instead of waiting for someone else to notice you, you begin to notice yourself. You set goals and then you experience the profound satisfaction of crushing them one by one. Ask yourself, what would the highest, most actualized version of me look like? Not the tired, overworked, underappreciated version you might be inhabiting right now, but the unstoppable version. The one who is physically fit, mentally sharp, and emotionally resilient. The one who is disciplined, financially secure, and living a life filled with purpose and passion. What is truly stopping you from becoming that person? You might think, I don't even know where to start. Start small. The best version of you isn't built in a day. It's built through the accumulation of small, consistent efforts. Maybe it starts with waking up just 1 hour earlier to exercise or meditate. Maybe you dedicate your evenings to learning a new language or skill online instead of scrolling mindlessly through the highlight reels of others' lives. Maybe you simply take 10 minutes each day to journal, to reflect, to plan your next move. The hardest truth you will ever have to swallow is this: you are where you are because of you. Not because of your partner, not because of your parents, not because of your boss. You. And that is not an attack. It is the most empowering opportunity you will ever be given. Because if you got yourself here, you also possess the immense power to get yourself out. Every single time you choose to invest in yourself, whether it's by reading a book, going for a run, or saying no to something that drains you, you are sending a powerful message to the universe and to yourself. I matter. I am worth the time. I am worth the energy. That internal shift doesn't just change you. It fundamentally changes the way other people perceive you. They start to respect you not because you begged for it, but because your actions have earned it. Now the lonely part. You might ask, but what if this journey feels lonely? It might. At times it will. Growth can feel incredibly isolating because not everyone in your life will understand or support your journey of transformation. But here's the thing, the right people will. When you begin to level up, you naturally start to attract people who are operating on the same frequency. And the ones who can't handle your growth. They were never meant to stay for the entire journey. They were part of a previous chapter, not your whole story. Picture a tiny seed buried deep underground. It doesn't sprout into a magnificent tree by worrying about whether the other seeds approve of its growth. It grows because it focuses on absorbing what it needs: water, sunlight, nutrients. It breaks through the hard dirt and reaches for the sky completely unbothered by whether the other seeds are growing or not. Be the seed. Focus on your own growth. And here is the beautiful payoff. When you truly invest in yourself, you become magnetic. People are inexplicably drawn to confidence, purpose, and discipline. They see the fire in your eyes, the strength in your posture, the certainty in your steps, and they cannot help but respect you. But by the time they finally notice this new powerful version of you, you might not even care about their opinion anymore. Because when you truly invest in yourself, you come to the profound realization that your worth was never tied to their validation in the first place. It was always and will always be an inside job. It's time to become the prize. The moment you compromise your own boundaries for someone else is the moment you hand them the architectural blueprint to your own downfall. Imagine you are the wise and powerful ruler of a vast, beautiful, and prosperous kingdom. Your time, your energy, and your inner peace are the priceless treasures that sustain your reign. But what happens if you leave the kingdom gates wide open, unguarded, allowing anyone and everyone to come in, wander around, and take whatever they want? The result is chaos. Your treasures are looted, your lands are trampled, and your kingdom falls into ruin. It doesn't fall because you weren't strong enough to defend it, but because you failed to set the clear, non-negotiable boundaries that are necessary to keep it safe. That is exactly what happens when you attempt to live your life without firm boundaries. A common misconception that keeps people in a state of perpetual self-sacrifice is the idea that setting boundaries is selfish. You might worry, won't setting boundaries push people away? Let's correct this mistaken belief right now. Boundaries are not walls designed to isolate you. They are guardrails designed to protect you. They protect your core values, your sanity, your time, and your self-respect. They do not push the right people away. They simply teach people how to treat you. In fact, the only people who are ever threatened by your boundaries are the ones who were benefiting from you having none. Ask yourself with radical honesty how many times you have said yes with your mouth when every fiber of your being was screaming no. How many times have you remained silent while someone disrespected your time, your opinions, or your feelings just to avoid a potential argument? How many times have you gone along with something that made you feel deeply uncomfortable, simply to keep the peace? Every single time you do this, you are sending a subconscious message both to them and to yourself. The message is, my needs don't matter, my time isn't valuable, my standards are negotiable. And here is the harsh, unvarnished truth people will believe you. They will treat you exactly as you allow them to treat you. If you do not respect yourself enough to set and enforce your own boundaries, you cannot expect anyone else to do it for you. So what if people don't like your boundaries? Good. Let them wrestle with it. Your boundaries are not about pleasing others, they are about protecting yourself. And let's be perfectly clear, setting a boundary is not an act of aggression. It is an act of profound self-respect. It doesn't mean you are being difficult, demanding, or rude. It simply means you are being clear and firm about what you will and will not accept in your life. Picture yourself driving down a treacherous mountain road. The sturdy guardrails along the cliff's edge are not there to trap you on the road. They are there to keep you from accidentally plunging off the cliff. That is what boundaries do for your relationships. They keep them safe by preventing them from spiraling into resentment, chaos, and disrespect. Without them, trust erodes, resentment builds, and respect vanishes entirely. It will feel uncomfortable, especially if you have spent your entire life being a people pleaser. The first time you say a clear, firm no without a long apologetic explanation, your voice might shake. The first time you call out a disrespectful comment, you might immediately second-guess yourself. But you must remember, this growth always feels uncomfortable at first. Every time you stand firm, every time you enforce a boundary, you are teaching others how to treat you. And more importantly, you are teaching yourself that you deserve to be treated with respect. Clarity is key. Express your needs and limits without beating around the bush or sugarcoating them. Firmness is just as important. Boundaries without consequences are merely suggestions. If someone crosses a line you have drawn, you must be ready to calmly call it out and take action if necessary. And you must be unapologetic. You do not owe anyone a lengthy explanation for protecting your peace or your time. A simple, "This doesn't work for me," is a complete sentence. It is enough. If they leave because of your boundaries, let them. If someone cannot handle your standards, they were never truly invested in your well-being. Boundaries don't chase away the right people. They filter out the wrong ones. The ones who stay, the ones who respect your terms, are the keepers. Setting boundaries transforms you. It shifts you from being a passive, reactive participant in your own life to being an active, empowered leader. It shows the world and yourself that you have standards, that you value your time, and that you will not settle for less than you deserve. Your presence is your power, but your absence, your deliberate strategic silence, can be even more profound. People do not treasure that which is always available. It is a fundamental law of human psychology. They treasure what feels rare, what feels special, and what they fear losing. When you are constantly present, always giving, always available, and endlessly chasing you unintentionally, send a message. You don't have to value me. I will always be here, no matter what. Now imagine stepping back completely. Picture the ripple effect of your sudden absence. The silence that follows will echo far louder than your words ever could. This is the absence effect, a force so powerful it can shake people awake, forcing them to finally confront the value of what they so carelessly took for granted. Let me tell you a story about a person who made themselves available for everyone. They were the first to help a friend move, the first to reach out after an argument, the first to show up with soup when someone was sick. At first, people appreciated their boundless generosity, but over time something shifted. Their constant, reliable presence became predictable and therefore expected. People stopped saying thank you as often. They stopped reciprocating the effort. They stopped showing up for them in return. Why? Because predictable things are easy to ignore. The sun rises every day, so we rarely stop to marvel at it. One day, this person made a quiet decision. They decided to step back. They stopped being the first one to text. They stopped initiating plans. They stopped offering their precious time and energy to those who did not value it. And what happened? Slowly but surely, people began to notice. The very same people who had once ignored their efforts started reaching out, asking where they'd been, wondering why they hadn't heard from them. Their absence created a void, and that void forced others to finally realize how much they had been taking for granted. This is the absence effect in action. Absence creates space. It creates space for reflection, space for awareness, and most importantly, space for others to finally understand your true worth. The inevitable fear will surface. But what if they don't notice my absence? What if they just don't care? That in itself is your answer. If someone doesn't even notice when you pull your energy back, then they were never truly invested in you to begin with. And while that truth might sting in the moment, it is also incredibly liberating. Because when you stop pouring your energy into people and situations that yield no return, you free up that energy to invest in those who do, or even better, to invest it in yourself. Think of a single candle burning brightly in a sunlit room. In the overwhelming light of day, its small glow goes completely unnoticed. But when the room goes dark, that same single candle becomes a beacon, a focal point of light and warmth. Your absence works in the same way. When you step back, you create a metaphorical darkness in the space your presence once filled, and in that space, people are forced to reckon with the emptiness you leave behind. This is not about playing games. The absence effect is not a manipulative ploy to make someone chase you or beg for your return. It is about reclaiming your time, your energy, and your focus. It is a declaration of self-worth that says, I am done investing in people who do not value me. This is not a tactic, it is a transformation. When you step back, one of two things will happen. Either they will recognize your value and step up to meet it, or they won't, and you will realize with crystal clarity that you are far better off without them. In both scenarios, you win. But here is the catch, you cannot fake this. You cannot step back for a day, constantly checking your phone, and expect immediate results. You have to mean it. You have to commit to it. Stepping back is an authentic act of self-respect, not a desperate strategy for attention. When you do it authentically, you will feel the shift not just in how others treat you, but more importantly, in how you treat yourself. True confidence doesn't roar, it whispers. It's a quiet internal certainty that simply says, I am enough, and the world has no choice but to listen. Imagine walking into a crowded room. You aren't desperately scanning faces for approval or trying to measure up to anyone else. You're not the loudest, the flashiest, or the most attention-grabbing person there. Yet somehow, all eyes are drawn to you. Not because you are trying to command attention, but because your very presence commands it. That is the magnetic power of unshakable confidence. It isn't loud or desperate. It's a calm, centered gravity that pulls respect towards it. But what is this unshakable confidence really? It is not what society often portrays it to be, being the loudest voice in the room, having the boldest personality, or possessing a wall full of trophies. True confidence has very little to do with external displays of power. It is an internal certainty. It is the quiet, unwavering belief that you are enough exactly as you are, with all your flaws and all your strengths. When you carry that belief deep within your bones, you no longer need validation from others. You stop chasing approval. You stop trying to prove your worth because you already know it. And that knowing radiates from you like a quiet energy. Confidence like this doesn't just appear out of thin air. It is built. It is forged in the fires of choices, actions, and a consistent commitment to yourself. It begins with a simple, powerful truth. Confidence isn't about what you have, it's about what you believe. You do not need a perfect body, a huge bank account, or a flashy car to feel confident. Those things are all external, and anything external can be taken away in an instant. Real lasting confidence is rooted in who you are, not what you own. It is the unshakable knowledge that your worth does not depend on anyone else's validation. Think of confidence as a muscle. Every time you show up for yourself, every time you keep a promise you've made to yourself, you are doing another repetition, strengthening that muscle. Imagine telling yourself, I'm going to start working out 3 times a week, and then actually following through. Or deciding to learn a new skill and sticking with it even when it gets hard and frustrating. Each of these small victories isn't just about the achievement itself. It's about proving to yourself over and over again that you are capable, that you are reliable, that you can trust yourself. And the more you prove that to yourself, the stronger your confidence grows. Failure is not the enemy of confidence. It is the foundation of it. Every time you fail at something and have the courage to get back up and try again, you are telling yourself that you are resilient. Confidence isn't about never falling. It's about knowing with absolute certainty that you have the strength to rise again no matter how many times life knocks you down. True confidence doesn't need to announce itself. It's in the way you walk, the way you hold yourself, the way you speak, not loudly, but with clarity and purpose. It is the calmness in your eyes, the steadiness in your actions, and the quiet refusal to let anyone else dictate your worth. The need to explain yourself is often the first sign that you are doubting yourself. Imagine standing in a courtroom where you are not on trial, but you are still passionately defending yourself. The judge isn't listening, the jury has no authority, yet you are pouring your heart out, offering up a long list of reasons, justifications, and convoluted explanations. It sounds ridiculous, doesn't it? Yet that is exactly what you are doing every time you over-explain your boundaries, your decisions, or your standards to people who don't deserve an explanation. Has over-explaining ever truly made someone respect you more? Did rambling through a list of your reasons ever stop them from pushing back, or did it just make you seem unsure of yourself? Opening the door for debate, over-explaining isn't about providing clarity, it's about soothing your own insecurity. It is a reflex born from a fear of being misunderstood, judged, or disliked. But here is the truth: confident people do not over-explain. They state their choices clearly and calmly, and then they let their actions speak for themselves. If someone doesn't like it, that is not their concern. Over-explaining is like leaving the door to your fortress cracked open. It invites people to push further, to test your boundaries, and to question your resolve. When you stop over-explaining, you are not being cold, you are being clear. You are showing people that you respect your own decisions enough not to feel the need to defend them. The power of silence is vastly underrated. When someone questions your decision, instead of launching into a detailed explanation, try a simple, "That doesn't work for me." If they push back, you calmly repeat, "As I said, that doesn't work for me." There is no need to elaborate, no need to justify. The elegant simplicity of your statement is its greatest strength. You cannot reach new heights if you are chained to the people and things that are holding you down. Let's cut through the noise and face a difficult truth. Are there people in your life who are actively dragging you down? Maybe it's that friend who only shows up when they need something from you. Maybe it's a partner who subtly belittles your dreams and ambitions. Maybe it's a coworker who undermines you at every opportunity. Deep down, you already know who they are. You have known for a while. These people are not just minor inconveniences, they are dead weight. And the longer you hold on to them, the longer you will remain stuck. The immediate objection is, but isn't it cruel to cut people off? What if they need me? Let me ask you this. What about what you need? What about your dreams, your goals, your inner peace? Sacrificing yourself for someone who consistently drains your energy is not kindness. It is self-sabotage. Imagine you are climbing a tall mountain determined to reach the summit. But strapped to your back is a massive useless backpack filled with heavy rocks. Every single step is harder than it needs to be. The weight slows you down, saps your energy, and makes you question whether the climb is even worth it. Now imagine unstrapping that heavy backpack and letting it fall away down the mountainside. How much lighter would you feel? How much easier would the climb become? That is what cutting toxic people out of your life does. It frees you to move forward unencumbered. Where your attention goes, your energy flows. So why are you pouring it into things that do not deserve it? Imagine you are holding a bucket of water. This water represents your time, your energy, and your focus. Everything you need to grow, succeed, and live a fulfilled life. But there's a problem. The bucket has holes. Tiny, constant leaks. A toxic relationship here, a pointless argument there, late-night overthinking that serves no purpose. Drop by drop, your precious water is draining away, leaving you empty, depleted, and exhausted. How much of your energy is being wasted on things that simply do not matter? Every moment you spend focusing on these distractions is a moment stolen from your own growth, your goals, and your peace. Reclaiming your focus is your most urgent task. Your focus is your most valuable resource, more precious than money or talent, because it ultimately determines how far you will go and how much you will grow. If your focus is scattered, constantly drawn to drama, disrespect, and distractions, you will never reach your full potential. You are spending your most valuable currency on things that provide no return. True freedom is not found in letting go of people. It is found in letting go of the desperate need to hold them so tightly. Imagine holding a handful of fine, dry sand. The harder you squeeze your fist, the more the sand slips through your fingers until your hand is empty. But if you open your hand and let the sand rest gently in your palm, it stays. That is the essence of detachment. It is not about pushing people away or pretending not to care. It is about holding space for what you value while remaining internally unshaken if it decides to leave. Detachment is not about ceasing to care. It is about caring in a way that does not imprison you. It is about being fully present, loving deeply, working hard, and living authentically without tying your happiness to the unpredictable actions of others or to specific external outcomes. It is the ultimate form of self-respect. Detachment is freedom. It is freedom from the exhausting need for validation, freedom from clinging desperately to people, outcomes, or situations for your happiness. It is realizing that your wholeness is not dependent on whether someone chooses to stay or go. You are whole regardless of the outcome. And here is the beautiful paradox. The less you cling, the more you attract. People are drawn to the quiet, centered confidence of someone who does not need them, but chooses them. In life, holding on too tightly only drains your energy and destroys your peace. When you finally embrace detachment, you reclaim your power, you find your peace, and you begin to live life on your own terms.